fear and discrimination based on the opinions he held regarding COVID-19, where he called a white supremacist xenophobe? How about an anti-science, anti-vaxxer? Well, fear not, because it turns out we may have been right on all counts all along. But how about January 6th? Did you believe, like the media wanted you to believe, that it was an armed insurrection, a threat to democracy? Or did you think, like I thought, some things aren't adding up? Maybe there were some government shenanigans involved. Well, alas, my friends, information is coming out and we are being vindicated. Let's talk about it. Let's begin with the juicy January 6th drama, and then we'll move on to COVID-19. But first, let's take a look at my beautiful dog Luna. Oh, she's gonna make an appearance, and there she is. She's beautiful, I know. All right, January 6th. Kevin McCarthy was elected majority leader of the House of Representatives. When he did that, he made a deal with the Freedom Caucus that he would release the 40,000 hours of security footage that the January 6th committee in the January 6th hearings decided to omit from the public. Why can't the public see the 40,000 hours of security footage? I don't know, but if you're trying to be transparent, that ain't it, all right? That ain't it. Anyway, Kevin McCarthy was elected as majority leader, and he made a deal and he released the footage. He gave the 40,000 hours to Tucker Carlson for him to analyze and put on TV whatever he deemed important. And there are some very interesting things. But why did the Freedom Caucus want the security footage released? Well, there's some unanswered questions. For example, Ray Epps. Why was Ray Epps not charged? There's clear evidence, clear footage of him not only in the Capitol building, but also leading the insurrection. Why isn't he being charged? Is he a government saboteur? I don't know. How come reinforcements were disallowed when they were requested by Capitol Police? I don't know, Pelosi, but you have to answer that. And we have footage of Capitol Police being extremely frustrated about that fact. What else? Why was the only casualty of an armed insurrection Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed rioter? And I will give you this. It was a riot. Some people were rioting. It was not an insurrection, and democracy was not threatened. So first, I want to show you this video right here. You guys remember the QAnon shaman? He was basically the face of the insurrection. They made him look like a fool, like a terrorist, everything in the book. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. You guys remember this guy? Well, it turns out that he didn't actually break into the Senate floor. He was escorted in by police. Check this out.
Dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Wasn't that shocking? I was not expecting to see that. And not only did the Capitol Police escort the QAnon shaman to the Senate floor, but they treated him so well. And they tried multiple doors, as we saw, but they treated him so well that when he got to the Senate floor, the QAnon shaman actually made a prayer for the Capitol Police for allowing him and the others into the Senate floor. Now, some people are saying, oh, the police weren't arresting him because they wanted to de-escalate the situation. But like Ben Shapiro pointed out, de-escalate the situation. At one point in the video, as we've all seen, there's 9 cops against the QAnon shaman, 9 against 1. What de-escalation do you need to do there? Arrest him. He wasn't even armed. So I don't know how the establishment is going to react to this. Oh, actually, I do know, and we're going to get to it later, because Chuck Schumer is upset. He's upset that the public is finally seeing the truth. Wait, there's more. Let's take a look at a clip of Capitol Police being frustrated because reinforcements never arrived, even though they were requested to Nancy Pelosi, and not only by the Capitol Police, but also by President Trump. Check this out.
They set up 64. Oh, absolutely. And then they asked her to come 2 hours later. They set us up. They needed everybody right away. Nah, right away. They set us the fuck up. So nah, we ain't got shit. We ain't got no motherfucking thing. They set us the fuck up. Take this motherfucker.
I'm hot. Here, you need water? Nah, here.
So if you were one of those cops who were, left out to fend for yourself by Nancy Pelosi, how would you feel? Comment down below. I think I'd be pretty pissed off. But now I want to show you the establishment response, both from the left and from the right, because as we all know, the establishment is made up of members from the left and from the right. Both shit. Let's begin with Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader. Because Chuck Schumer wants to censor Tucker Carlson for telling the truth. Chuck does not want to repudiate Tucker's comments. He does not want to show that Tucker is lying because he cannot do so. Instead, he opts to do what, authoritarians and modern leftists usually opt for. Censorship of opposing ideas and censorship of facts. Check this out.
Last night, millions of Americans tuned in to one of the most shameful hours we have ever seen on cable television. With contempt for the facts, disregard of the risks, and knowing full well he was lying to his audience, Fox News host Tucker Carlson ran a lengthy segment last night arguing the January 6th Capitol attack was not a violent insurrection. By diving deep into the waters of conspiracy and cherry-picking from thousands of hours of security footage.
Cherry-picking? It was you who cherry-picked when you chose what to show and what not to show. It was you who omitted the 40,000 hours of footage. Cherry-picking? Yes, by you, not by Tucker.
Mr. Carlson told the bold-faced lie that the Capitol attack, which we all saw with our own eyes, was somehow not an attack at all. He tried to argue it was nothing more than a peaceful sightseeing tour. Can you imagine? A nonviolent demonstration, a perfectly fine and appropriate instance of people expressing their opinion. I, so many others who were here in the Capitol, and millions of Americans are just furious with Tucker Carlson and Kevin McCarthy today. To say January 6th was not violent is a lie pure and simple. I don't think I've ever seen a primetime cable news anchor manipulate his viewers the way Mr. Carlson did last night. I don't think I've ever seen an anchor treat the American people and American democracy with such disdain.
You never saw a primetime news anchor manipulate its viewers? Were you not paying attention to the 4 years of Russian collusion? To the painting of Judge Kavanaugh as a rapist? To the painting of the BLM deadly riots as fiery but mostly peaceful? Is that not manipulation, Chuck?
And he's going to come back tonight with another segment. Fox News should tell him not to. Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, tell Carlson not to run a second segment of lies. You know it's a lie. You've admitted it's a lie. And Speaker McCarthy is every bit as culpable as Mr. Carlson. Speaker McCarthy's decision to share security footage with Fox looked like a mistake from the very beginning.
You see how these people think? To tell the American people the truth is a mistake. But you know what, Chuck? You're right about one thing. The blowback will be disastrous, but not on Tucker, on you. And you, the January 6th committee, and the whole entire establishment. And now let's move on to the Republican response, to the Republican side of the establishment. Mitch McConnell, the turtle. What did he have to say about this?
It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
Of course he thinks it's a mistake, just like Chuck, because he's an establishment hack. And you know what? They're going to claim that this is a mistake too. The New York Times published this article. Capitol police officer dies from injuries in pro-Trump rampage. The death of the officer, Brian D. Sicknick, appeared likely to lead to calls for profound changes to the Capitol Police, a centuries-old force. The New York Times then goes on to say that Brian, the police officer, was killed by the violent pro-Trump rally. And then they're going to claim that this is a mistake. But it's not a mistake. This is on purpose. This is manipulation. In reality, this is what happened. Medical examiner finds that U.S. Capitol Police officer Brian Sicknick died of natural causes hours after the event. Well, it's probably just a mistake. No one's being dishonest. No one's trying to manipulate its viewers here, right? Just the New York Times making a little white mistake. And what about this? 4 officers who responded to Capitol riot have died by suicide. I mean, what are the chances? What are the chances that 4 cops that were there decided to end their lives permanently? I think they knew something that they shouldn't have known. They got Clinton. They got Epsteined. That's what I think. I think it's way too odd that these 4 officers just, committed suicide after the fact, that Brian Sicknick died of natural causes, even though the media said he was violently ravaged by the pro-Trump mob. So all these things I find really, really skeptical. Really skeptical. But this one in particular, 4 officers who responded to Capitol riot have died by suicide. What are the chances? What are the chances? Comment your opinions down below. And now we finally move on to COVID-19. Because we were right all along. Over the last few weeks, meta-analysis studies from highly respected researchers found that, number 1, masks have no impact on the epidemic trajectory, from Cochrane. Natural immunity is better than vax immunity, or the same, from the Lancet. Vax mandates did not increase vaccination rate, from the George Mason University. And myocarditis up to 28 times more prevalent after the vax than COVID itself. So, of course, I want to show you this also because the lab leak theory has come out. Wall Street Journal, lab leak most likely origin of COVID-19 pandemic, Energy Department now says. But it's not just the Energy Department. The FBI chief, Christopher Wray, says China lab leak most likely. I said that 3 years ago. I said that because it was obvious. Because there was a level 4 biolab in Wuhan. And this came out of Wuhan. It was obvious. But no, I was a xenophobe white supremacist for saying this. Ridiculous. From the Lancet. The most comprehensive study to date provides evidence of natural immunity protection by COVID-19 variant and how protection fades over time. Essentially, this says that natural immunity protection is better and longer lasting than vaccination. It's interesting that this comes from the Lancet because, as I was showing you earlier, where is it? New emails show Fauci commissioned paper to disprove Wuhan lab leak theory. Yes, and the Lancet is one of the main culprits of this because it published this whole article authored by all these very important scientists like Anthony Fauci that the lab leak was nonsense, that the lab leak was xenophobic, and that the lab leak theory was white supremacist Trump talking point. But no, clearly, as the Energy Department and as the FBI say, it was true. It was the most likely cause. George Mason study finds no evidence that vaccine mandates in major cities reduce COVID-19 cases. Obviously they didn't because most people were wearing those little fucking paper masks, cloth masks. Of course that wasn't gonna work. Obviously, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a math guy. But, you know, I have a little common sense. So when I can see people smoking the fucking vapes and blowing them and see all the smoke come out of the mask, I can tell, okay, so the masks actually don't protect anything. And I don't even need to see the people vaping. I mean, come on. It's a microscopic thing. The mask, the paper masks, the cloth masks, they're not tightly sealed. They're not K95 masks. But yeah, I was the anti-science guy. SARS-CoV-2 vaccination and myocarditis in the Nordic cohort study of 23 million residents. This is a study that says that you're 28 times more likely to get myocarditis from the vaccine than from COVID itself. I actually read this. It was boring as hell. I read this whole thing so you don't have to. Huh. That's a good tagline for the channel. Subscribe. I read so you don't have to. And it's free. So yeah, subscribe. And finally, my last prediction that's really important, at least in my life. For the last, I would say, year and 3 months, I've been saying, I was born in Argentina. Even though I'm an American, I love this country. I was born in Argentina. When it comes to soccer, you know, I love Argentina, the Argentinian national team, Lionel Messi. So I've been saying for a long time, Argentina is going to win the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. I knew it. I knew it. It had to be. And I'm not a religious man, but it had to be for the legacy of Lionel Messi. It was just written. It had to be Argentina. And I was saying it, and I was saying it, and I was saying it. And finally, I was vindicated on that as well. Look at that. Beauty. We did it. After 29 years of being alive and wanting to see Argentina lift this cup, we finally did it. Vindicated. And it feels so good. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share. I'll see you next time.